Well, hello everyone. My name is Zachary O'Shea, and this is Box of Teeth. It's also just another Mimic Monday, so I have a Mimic for all of you right now. Every Just Another Mimic Monday, I reach deep into that box of teeth and produce a homebrew Mimic for all of you for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. They're sometimes a little bit silly, sometimes a little bit horrific, usually a mixture of the two, and today we have the Strumming Mimic. Defeating the Dirge Bard should have not been this difficult. Your party waited until he was alone, strumming away on his mandolin to strike. The rogue's sneak attack was caught halfway as the mandolin's neck stretched and wrapped around their arm. The screaming strings of the mandolin played along and amplified the Dirge's thunderous spells, sending the fighter crashing through shattering cobblestone. The Dirge isn't even playing the instrument anymore, but the fast-tempo music keeps going nevertheless. He's moving faster than he should, more often than he should, casting out spells and never really stopping, and now that mandolin has sprouted teeth from its drum and is chewing. It's gonna be a rough night, isn't it? Unsurprisingly, the first Strumming Mimic was constructed by a bard that wanted a companion and a self-playing instrument all in one package. Also unsurprisingly, that bard ended up being that Mimic's very first meal, which didn't, of course, work out very well. Since then, however, Strumming Mimics have realized they do need a musician to easily travel from one hunting ground to another. Oftentimes, they find themselves paired with players that have a chaotic and or a bloodthirsty sort of bent. However, sometimes a Mimic will convince a middling bard that really they're the reason that they have some talent and success, and they must now regularly sacrifice someone to that Mimic to be able to keep the music going, as it were. Oddly, Strumming Mimics have a hereditary fear of fiddler mimics, which are fiddle mimics. The reason why is fiddle mimics are certainly stronger and have some worse abilities despite their smaller size, and every strumming mimic just knows that a fiddle is more than happy to devour them to keep its hunting ground pure and for itself. Alright, that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the Strumming Mimic statistics for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. The Strumming Mimic is a challenge rating 3 small monstrosity that is neutral. It has the armor class and hit points you might expect for a challenge rating 3 creature, the usual immunities a Mimic has, plus resistance to thunder damage for probably pretty obvious reasons. As with any other Mimic, it does have Shape Changer, Adhesive, False Appearance, and Grappler, though it can only change into a mandolin. On top of all of that, it does have Accompaniment, which is an ability when it's in object form. If someone is playing it, they have advantage on performance checks, and +1 to the DC of any spell that does thunder damage. It does have a Pseudopod and a Bite attack, but on top of that, it does have High Note, which is basically Thunder Wave, but is a recharge ability that is not magical. On top of that, it does have a bonus action of Baseline, so if it succeeds on a performance check, it and all of its allies within 20 feet gets an additional bonus action every turn, at least until the beginning of the Mimic's next turn, but they can only use this additional bonus action to dash, hide, or operate an object. And then on top of that, all creatures, including the Mimic while this is going, have advantage against charm and fear-based effects. This Mimic is really designed to give to an NPC bard, so they're not quite a pushover in a fight, but they could be used in a lot of different ways, and I'd love to hear your ideas about how you would use them down in the comments below. Of course, you can find the Strumming Mimic, hundreds of other Mimics, and hundreds more horror-themed monsters, all for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and all perfectly free at boxofteeth.blogspot.com. If you're more interested in the non-Dungeons & Dragons role-playing projects that I have, or the horror fiction that I write that includes Grease Paint right here, it's got a Killer Clown. Book 2 should be out sometime this summer, so stay tuned. You can always go to www.zacharyoshea.com. As always, I appreciate your time and your attention, and hope you have a great rest of the week ahead of you.